Going to look at balancing equations. When we have to apply this when there are variables on each side of the equation. So the first step is always to eliminate one of the two variables. And I always suggest to eliminate the smaller of the two variables. So let's say here we have 6x, 6 times the number plus 2 equals 10 plus 4 times that same number. So we have variables on each side. That's not going to work. So what you can do is you can balance this equation. You can balance by taking away 4x on this side of the equality. But I can't just take out 4x because then I'm unbalancing. It's not balanced. So if I take away 4x here, I need to take away 4x here as well. So if I take away 4x from 6x, it's going to be 2x. So I just simplify my equation to 2 times the number plus 2 equals 10. Now, some of you can probably do that in your head. 2 times one number plus 2 gives you 10. Well, you know that what number plus 2 gives me 10? This has to be 8. 2x has to be 8. And 2 times what number gives me 8? X is 4. Now, if you can't get this, you just do the inverse operation. Minus 2 is 8. Divide by 2, 4. Let's do another example. Again, here's another example you're going to have to balance. So again, you have variables on each side. That's not going to work. And I always suggest to eliminate the smallest of the two variables. So what's smaller, 2c or 3c? Negative 3c. Well, the negative number is always smaller. So how am I going to get rid of negative 3? Well, to get rid of negative 3, you're going to have to add 3c. So if I'm adding 3c, then it's going to cancel out. But I can't just add 3c on one side. I'm going to have to add those 3c's over here. So I just changed my equation to 7 equals 5 times the number minus 8. So what number do I subtract 8? What number do I subtract 8 that I get 7? If you can't do that in your head, you can just add 8 to 7, but this has to be 15. 15 minus 8 gives me 7. So 5 times what number gives me 15? C equals 3. Because 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. And finally, here, 122 divided by number equals 3. This expression here, it means that r it can be 0. So you can ignore this section here. This section here, you can ignore that. That's just extra information saying that r is not 0. Okay, it's a restriction. You'll see this. There's more application to this later on. But for now, all I need to concentrate on is what number, if I take 122, if I divide it by what number, it gives me 3. To solve this problem, well, you have to do a little bit of work. You have to, well, first off, the best way to do this is to start off by multiplying each side by r. So why would I do this? Well, it's because my r right now is on the denominator. I don't want that. It's going to cancel out here. So I'm going to get 122 equals 3r. So 3 times the number. So 3 times what number gives me 122? All I need to do to solve that is I need to divide 122 by 3. I do the inverse operation. So if I take 3 times what number gives me 122, I'm just going to do this. 122 divided by 3. It's going to give me my answer. So I know it goes in at least 40 times and 2/3 of another time because I've got a remainder of 2. That would be my answer. Or you could write it as 40 and 6 repeated. Here's your practice. Make sure you check your work behind the book.